Have you ever sat in a quiet room, looked around, and felt like the silence was just too loud? Like the world moved on without checking if you were okay? That feeling, it creeps in slowly. Maybe the phone doesn't ring like it used to. Maybe the holidays aren't quite as full as they once were. Or maybe you catch yourself thinking, is this it? Is this what life after 60 is supposed to feel like? Let me tell you something right away. Loneliness is not a weakness, and it's not something to feel ashamed of. In fact, millions of people over 60 feel it too. But here's the truth that no one talks about enough. Being alone and being lonely are not the same thing. Solitude can be heavy, yes, but it can also become the most peaceful, joyful season of your life if you know how to shift your mindset and take a few small steps in a new direction. Today, we're talking heart to heart about exactly that. 5 ways to turn solitude into peace and joy. Not some generic, fluffy advice, but real, simple things that can change how you feel day by day. And I want you to stay with me, because even if you felt stuck for years, even if it's been a long time since you felt truly connected or happy, I promise, it's not too late. You haven't missed your chance. Let's start with the first and most important shift, redefining your mornings. Now, this might surprise you, but the way you begin your day after 60 can either lift you up or quietly drag you down. And when you're living alone or feeling disconnected, mornings can become mechanical. Coffee, maybe TV, a little pacing, maybe even just going back to bed. That pattern might feel safe, but it keeps you in the same emotional space day after day. What if, just for one morning, you started with something different? No screens, no scrolling, just 5 minutes. That's it. You wake up, sit up slowly, and before you reach for anything, you say to yourself, this day matters. I matter. Something good is waiting for me today. Sounds simple, I know. But when you begin the day by grounding yourself in intention, even just a positive thought or gentle breath, you start to feel the day differently. That little space between sleep and routine, that's your window to choose peace before the world pulls at you. And if you're ready to take it one step further, create a little morning ritual just for you. Maybe it's sitting outside with your tea and listening to the birds. Maybe it's writing down 3 things you're grateful for. Or maybe it's just playing a favorite song that stirs something warm in your heart. This isn't about being productive, it's about claiming your morning. And when you do that, the whole day opens up in a new way. Now, once you've started shifting your mornings, let's talk about something else that often feels harder than we admit, reaching out. Not just socially, but emotionally. Here's what happens. We tell ourselves, I don't want to bother anyone, or they're probably busy, or it's been too long, it would feel awkward, and so we don't call. We don't write. We stay quiet, but that quiet builds. And before long, we forget how much power one simple message holds. Let me ask you this. Is there someone you used to be close with, even a little, a cousin, a neighbor, someone from work or church, who pops into your mind now and then? Maybe you remember them with a smile. Maybe you think, I wonder how they're doing. That's your invitation. You don't have to send a long letter or plan a big phone call. Sometimes just a simple message, hey, I was thinking of you today. Hope you're doing well, is all it takes. You'd be amazed how often that little ripple comes back to you in the form of real connection. We all crave to feel seen, and sometimes the fastest way to feel connected is to give connection first. And let's not forget, technology might feel intimidating at times, but it can be your bridge. If you're not sure how to text or video call, ask a grandchild or a neighbor. People want to help, especially when they know you're willing to try something new. Just imagine you having a cup of tea with a friend over video, laughing about something silly you both forgot years ago. That's not out of reach. It's just one message away. Now, these first 2 shifts, your mornings and reaching out, they aren't about changing your whole life overnight. They're about planting seeds, little moments of care, connection, and intention. Because loneliness doesn't disappear with one big gesture. It fades when you fill your days with small, meaningful touches, the kind that gently remind your heart you are still very much alive. You are still needed. You are still part of something. And I know it takes courage. It takes energy. But I also know this. The hardest part is getting started. And the second hardest, believing you deserve the joy that comes after. So if no one has told you today, you do. You absolutely do. Now that we've taken the first steps, gently reshaping how you start your day and opening the door to human connection again, let's keep going. Because there's still more joy to be uncovered in solitude, more peace waiting quietly in the corners of your life. You've already begun the most powerful step, showing up for yourself. And that matters more than you know. But the real beauty of this stage of life, you get to slow down and finally ask the question, what truly brings me joy? Not what others expected from you, not what you had to do for work or family, but what lights something gentle and honest inside of you. This leads us to something truly special, learning how to enjoy your own company. Now, I know that might sound a little strange at first. After all, we grow up being told that joy comes from being around others, parties, family dinners, group vacations. And yes, those moments are beautiful, But when life quiets down, when the house is still and the days stretch a little longer, being alone with yourself can either feel peaceful or painfully empty. Here's the secret though. The difference isn't in how many people are around you. It's in the way you treat yourself. Think about it like this. If you were hosting a friend for the day, would you ignore them, criticize them, or let them sit in silence all day? Of course not. You'd probably offer them a comfortable place to sit, a warm cup of coffee, maybe play their favorite music, or invite them to try something fun together. So why not offer the same kindness to yourself? Start by creating moments that feel welcoming, not just functional. Instead of eating meals standing up or in front of the TV, try setting a real place for yourself at the table. Light a candle. Use the nice dishes. Play soft music. Make the meal feel like a gift, not just a chore. You're not just eating alone, you're nourishing someone deeply worthy of care. You. Or try this. Take yourself on little dates. A morning walk in the park with your favorite coffee in hand. A trip to a bookstore just to browse titles that catch your eye. An afternoon listening to music that brings back good memories, paired with a warm blanket and sunlight on your face. These aren't luxuries. They're lifelines. Tiny acts of self-kindness that teach your mind and body that solitude can be beautiful, not just bearable. And don't be afraid to try new hobbies. You don't need to be good at something to enjoy it, whether it's painting, knitting, writing short poems, or growing a few herbs on the windowsill. Doing something creative wakes up the quiet parts of you that may have gone dormant. It gives your hands something meaningful to do and your heart something gentle to focus on. Remember, joy doesn't always come crashing in with confetti. Sometimes it arrives like a soft whisper, a peaceful breath, a quiet laugh, the warmth of sunlight through the window. Now, as you begin rediscovering yourself and embracing your own company, something beautiful starts to happen. You become more present. And that presence opens the door to our next powerful shift, finding purpose in everyday moments. Purpose doesn't have to be some big world-changing mission. It doesn't mean starting a nonprofit or writing a novel unless you want to. It can be as simple and profound as showing up with intention. Taking care of a neighbor's plants while they're away, sending a birthday card to someone who might not get many, baking something and sharing it with the lady down the street, smiling at someone who looks just as quiet as you feel. These may seem small, almost forgettable, but to someone else they might be the brightest part of their day. And to you, they serve as reminders. I still have something to give. I still make a difference. Even something like volunteering one morning a week at a food pantry, a library, a local hospital can lift that heavy cloud of isolation. When you give even a small part of your time to help others, your world begins to feel fuller, not just with activity, but with meaning. And that meaning feeds your soul in a way that nothing else quite can. And what if getting out feels like too much right now? That's okay too. Purpose starts at home. Caring for your space, tending to a plant, organizing an old photo album, even journaling your thoughts. These things anchor you. They remind you that time still matters, that your presence still shapes the world around you. You are not forgotten. You are not invisible. Your story is still being written, and every moment you choose to show up with intention is a line in that story worth telling. And something interesting happens when you start living this way, when you stop chasing a big, dramatic version of happiness and instead focus on creating tiny sparks of joy, peace, and purpose in the everyday. You stop feeling like you're waiting for life to begin again, because you realize it already has. So if you've been carrying the weight of loneliness for a long time, let me say this again. You are not broken. You are not too late. And you are absolutely not alone, even in your solitude. There is so much still waiting for you. Not in some faraway place or some future you have to chase, but right here in your morning cup of tea, in the sunlight through your window, in the smile you offer yourself when no one else is around. You are allowed to feel joy again. You are allowed to feel peace. And slowly, as you begin to trust that truth, your days will start to feel softer, fuller, more alive. Let's keep moving forward, because there's still one more shift. One more beautiful way to turn solitude into something truly special. There's something truly magical that begins to happen when you stop fighting your solitude and instead begin to honor it. When you stop seeing quiet moments as signs that life is over and start recognizing them as invitations to begin again, in a new, softer, more meaningful way. And now we come to a final beautiful truth that ties everything together. It's this: you can build a life that feels whole, even if you walk it alone. And that begins with something we often overlook, especially as we get older. Creating connection, not just with people, but with the world itself. You see, connection isn't just about social gatherings or conversations over coffee, although those are wonderful too. It's also about feeling part of something bigger, something outside your thoughts, something that reminds you you're still very much alive and in motion. And one of the simplest ways to feel this again is by reconnecting with nature. Even if you live in a city, even if your mobility isn't what it used to be, there's still a way to step outside and remember the rhythm of the world around you. Try it. Take a few quiet minutes each day to notice, really notice, the small, beautiful details around you. The sound of birds greeting the morning, the feel of the wind brushing past your face, the way the sun slowly warms your hands. These are not little things. These are the very threads of peace that gently pull you back into the present. And the present is where joy lives. You don't need to hike a mountain or sit by a lake, though that's lovely if you can. Sometimes just sitting under a tree in your yard or opening the window to let in fresh air can bring you back to yourself. The world isn't just something happening out there, it's happening with you, right now. And being part of it again, even in small ways, brings a kind of quiet healing you might not even realize you need. You can also create rituals of connection. A short walk at the same time each morning, feeding the birds outside your window, watering a plant while humming your favorite tune. These small acts become anchors, gentle reminders that life continues, and so do you. And as you settle into this more connected, intentional way of living, you may begin to notice something else. Something unexpected. You begin to feel proud that you didn't give up on yourself, proud that even through the quiet, even through the aches and the long afternoons, you found your way back to joy, not because someone else gave it to you, but because you reclaimed it, piece by piece, day by day. And that is something to celebrate. Because after all, what if this chapter, this quieter, slower, more thoughtful chapter, is actually your most powerful one yet? Not the one filled with noise and speed and endless responsibilities, but the one where you finally get to be you, fully, without apology, without pressure. Just honest, simple, peaceful you. You see, we spend so many years caring for others, children, partners, coworkers, friends, that when the world goes quiet, we often don't know what to do with ourselves. But now you get to come home to yourself. You get to rediscover who you are when no one's asking anything of you. And in that discovery, there's room for laughter again, room for lightness, room for love, even if it begins with loving your own quiet presence. And let's not forget, joy is contagious. When you feel more peaceful, more present, more alive, people notice. They feel it. Even if they can't put it into words, they're drawn to that kind of grounded energy. That means new friendships may begin to form naturally. Conversations may come more easily. Opportunities to connect may show up when you least expect them, not because you chased them, but because you became the kind of person joy wants to be around. So if today feels lonely, if you've had a stretch of weeks or months that felt heavy and hollow, I want you to hear me clearly. You're not forgotten. You're not behind. You're not stuck. You are simply in a new season, one that holds just as much beauty, if not more, than any other you've lived. It starts with a morning breath, a simple message, a gentle walk, a favorite song, a meal made just for you. And slowly, solitude becomes something different. Not a weight, but a gift. Not a sentence, but a freedom. And if your heart is aching, let it ache. That ache means you've loved deeply in this life. It means you felt the richness of connection. And it also means you're still open, still capable of connection. That alone is something to honor. So today, I hope you do something just for yourself, something kind, something small, something that says, I deserve peace. I deserve joy, even now, especially now. And when you're ready, I'd love to hear from you. Share your thoughts, your story, or even just how you've been feeling lately in the comments below. You never know who might read it and feel a little less alone. If this video touched your heart, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more gentle guidance like this. We're building a quiet little community here, a place where growing older doesn't mean fading away, but blooming differently. Thank you for spending this time with me. You are not alone. You are not invisible. You are seen. You are loved. Here's to living your most peaceful, joyful, authentic life at any age, and especially after 60.